Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Way Out of Here. Now, in this episode, I want to update you guys on some of the progress that's been going on with the documentary and the program and everything like that. So, this last week, I put together a lot of proposals. I reached out to a few people as far as the kind of initiation of the conversation to get some of the organizations that I need to be on board with telling this kind of bigger story. So, in recap, the program itself is based around the song "Stop Being a Slave to Fear." Now, I created a program to go into schools to talk to kids about just serious issues, but use art in order to help stimulate and kind of engage in the conversation. Now, from there, I had a lot of really cool response. So it kind of blew it up into a larger project. I wanted to put together a little mini documentary about the program. Now, from there, it moved into being a larger concept, right? So a full-length documentary is where it's headed now, because I think I've stumbled upon something that I really wanted to highlight, like as a storyteller and as a filmmaker and as a music producer. I wanted to put together a bigger project that had a much larger idea in mind. Now, I really like the idea of going in and creating this program, this educational program, and using art to kind of stimulate the conversation. I really enjoy doing that. But as a filmmaker, I wanted to put together something a little bit bigger than just the program itself. Now, I needed a little bit of this program to be kind of showcased so that I could pass it along to administrators and kind of school teachers and things like that to help me get into more and more schools. So in order to grow the program, I needed to put together a little bit of a visual representation of what this program is really all about. So in doing that and putting together this idea, something else started to form. Now, the other thing that started to form was this larger concept of a full-length documentary, because really what I want to showcase is how art is being used to help heal the planet. Now, it always comes down to, how are you going to tell a story? Like, what characters are you going to present the audience in order to help kind of relay the message and portray the overall story arc of what it is I'm really trying to go after, as well as defining the takeaways and the kind of driving questions and kind of narrative plot lines that I really want to tell as a storyteller and a filmmaker. So as I started putting together the idea of this the larger documentary, a couple ideas kind of popped out to me that I want to tell the local story of what the program is that I put together, and then also talk about how this story is being picked up and the program itself is being kind of used as a model for another organization to help go into Nepal and help human trafficking awareness campaign and that kind of a thing. So that becomes another character in the story, is this organization that's going and using art to help human trafficking and help another country deal with its major issues. So we're kind of seeing this big portrayal of how art can be used, and in that case, I get to be the main character, not only in putting together this local program in schools here in Washington and really growing that program, but then getting to go over to Nepal and just using my program as a model. So not my songs, but really just helping the concept, using the idea of writing songs as the framework to put together a program for the Nepalese people. Now, I'm super excited about that because I get to introduce some other characters and some other driving points to the overall theme that art is being used to help heal the planet. Now, what was exciting about this week was that I submitted a request, a proposal to the organization called Toones, and you can look them up, tinytoones.org. And they are a really, really cool organization that I got the pleasure of getting to know over the summer while I was backpacking through Southeast Asia, and specifically when I stopped in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. I got to meet this organization and all the, the founders and those who run it, and they're just a group of amazing guys that have really put together something special that I wanted to highlight. I mean, immediately upon meeting them and hearing their story, I knew that this story people need to understand what they're doing, because I believe that what they're doing can be used as a model as well for other countries and, other communities using the concepts of art. And specifically in this case, Tiny Toones is using the 4 elements of hip hop with dance, music, and art and graffiti and everything, that bringing the kids together off of the street, the ones that are like living on the streets or working on the streets, having hard times. Like, they brought all these kids together, and through art have really given these, kids a chance at something greater in life. If it's to get into public schools so they can learn, the English language and the Khmer language, and, really get back into public schools so they can, get their diploma and seek higher education if that's something they want to do, or get into the workforce there. But what I recognize is that a lot of them were after this sense of community. Like, they developed these amazing bonds and these friendships with all of the people that they're dancing with and, making music with, that they end up forming like dance crews and going all over the world and touring all over the world. And so they are now provided opportunities that a lot of people in their situation just aren't. And it's through this organization that has put together some really incredible concepts that really, in the bigger picture, what I want to tell is you have to understand the history of Cambodia to really grasp how special that is, because, 40 years ago, that country suffered a massive genocide, like horribly wiped out 4 million people of their country. And along with it, like a lot of the culture, a lot of the arts, a lot of the intellectual movement, a lot of the academics, a lot of the engineers, and just a lot of the culture that was thriving at that time. And they got wiped out, like generationally, meaning like their families. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, it was brutal. Learning about the killing fields and the killing caves, and what that country really went through, and seeing the aftermath of it from the rural villages all the way up into the big cities, like just seeing the different generations of people and how it has impacted them. Now, what I believe is special is that this organization, Tiny Toones, was founded by guys who were born in the Thai refugee camps from that period of time, whose families had fled the genocide. And then they made it into America and, grew up in the projects of Los Angeles. And that's where hip hop culture really, kind of entered their world and got, pretty much just embedded into the fabric of who they are. And so, when, some situations that happened in their life ended up, forcing them back to Cambodia, when they had nothing, they turned to art, and they turned to dance, and they turned to music as a way of healing themselves. And through that, over, the course of decades, have now created an amazing organization that's, helping so many kids locally in their area. But also, if you look at it from a bigger perspective, is really bringing back culture to Cambodia. Like, it's bringing back arts and a movement through this grassroots approach at healing the individual, but healing the community, and then all of a sudden they're healing their country as well. And so that's a part of the story that I really wanted to tell, because I think it's huge when it comes to how art can be used to help heal the world. And so I reached out. I met the founder when I was over in Cambodia, and we spent a couple of days together with some kids, and we took them all to the beach, and we got some really cool, like, one-on-one personal time. I got to see his studio and see his facility, his school, and I really got to like get to know him a little bit. And so when I reached out to him through Facebook with this idea, this proposal, then this last week he wrote me back and said that the documentary sounds like an awesome idea and that he would love to be a part of it. And so what we're going to be able to do is add some of the music from, you know, their local community into the soundtrack, which is awesome. I think it's just going to add just another layer of, you know, this kind of world vision of how art is being, it crosses borders, man, and it builds bridges. It helps to build bridges in our community internationally. And you know, that's what I love about hip hop. That's what I love about the genre of music that, you know, I get to participate in, is that it builds bridges not only in our own communities, you know, through helping to kind of talk about a lot of the serious issues that are, you know, that plague our own country, but then to see that it built a bridge to these other communities all over the world, it's incredible. So I wanted to showcase and highlight that, because this week was huge in the motivation factor, which was, you know, putting the final piece into one of the main characters of being able to tell this story internationally, was, you know, really being able to have permission to come in and showcase that story. And so I look forward to being able to like really dig in deep and show you guys, you know, a real cool aspect to this concept of the way out of here. So thanks again for paying attention and listening, and I hope this excites you as much as it does me. But I'll be bringing you more updates as I get them, and again, just keep paying attention to all the social media, and yeah, I look forward to talking to you guys again. All right, thanks a lot. Slave to fear.